right, so 13.4, more complex rational expressions and finding unknown trig ratios. Okay. The first thing that you're going to want to do is get rid of negative exponents. So how would I end up rewriting this? We still have x plus y on top, right? How would I write the denominator? Does the 2 have a negative exponent? No, only the x. So we write that as 2 over x plus, and this would be written as 2 over y. Then we can solve this the same way in that we would figure out what is our LCD. What would be my LCD on this problem? Good, LCD is going to be xy. So we have to multiply every single term by xy, whether it has a fraction or not. And again, this is why I write it next to every term so I don't forget one of them. Okay? So on the top, what do I end up with? X squared y plus xy squared, because we keep it in alphabetical order, over, on the bottom what happens? Good, x's cancel out, so we have 2y plus, and then here the y's cancel out, and we get 2x. Okay, so we always check if we can do anything else. So if we just look at the top, is there anything that could be factored out? What? Your xy. So it actually ends up kind of going back to what it was before. So we take out an xy, we divide each of these by xy, and we end up with x plus y. Over. Is there anything I can do in the denominator? Good. And then we are left with y plus x. Is x plus y and y plus x the same? Yes. Do I have to take out any negatives or do anything like that? No. Okay, so we just cancel those out, and my answer is xy over 2. All right, example 2. I just want you guys to start by getting rid of the negative exponent. So I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds to try to get rid of the negative exponents. Okay, so your first term should have been what? Good. Plus? Good. And then the bottom, do I have to move anything? No, so we just have x squared minus 9. Okay, now what's next? There's no like terms like a mind. Your LCD. What's my LCD? This one's on a fraction, right? So we don't have to worry about that. What's the LCD for this? 27x cubed. So 27x cubed to every single term. Okay, so on the top, what happens? X cubes cancel, and we're left with 27 plus the 27s cancel out, and we have x cubed. Now, in the denominator, we'll probably end up factoring out a 27x cubed, right? So could I just do that instead? So I would write this as 27x cubed, parentheses what? X squared minus 9. Are we all okay with that? Okay, who knows what we would do next? Okay, we can separate the x squared minus 9. Let's look at the top here. Is this factorable? Yes. How? Good, cube factoring. So 27 is actually what? 3 cubed. Okay, so We make our two parentheses for the top here. So what's gonna go right here in the first parenthesis? Good, 3 plus x. Then my first term here is going to be 9. And is it going to be minus or plus? Minus. And how do you know? Opposite sign. And then in the middle it's going to be? And how do you know? We multiply those together. Very good. And then the last one is? Very good. Okay. So then we go to the denominator. I have 27x cubed, and then Blessy told me that this can be factored. What can this be factored to? Good. X plus 3, x minus 3. Do you notice anything that can be reduced or canceled?
3 plus x and x plus 3.
Good, because they're the same, right? Do I have to take out any negatives or anything? No. Cancel this out. Do we notice anything else that could be reduced? This can't be factored. Can 27 go into all three of these? So it can only go in unless you can do all of them. So I believe this is my answer. 9 minus 3x plus x squared on the top, and 27x cubed, parenthesis x minus 3 on the bottom. This right here? Wait, say that again? Right here? There's no adding or subtracting between these two. So, you probably could do that. It just might get more complicated because you'd have fractions that you had all factored. So I think it's usually better to get rid of the fractions, but you could try it that way. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on. Do you guys think you can do this one on your own? Okay, so what's our first step? Okay, let's get rid of our negative exponents. For time's sake, we're going to just do this together. So my first term is going to be what?
6 over y.
6 over y. Very good. Minus, what's going to happen with my second term?
3 over x.
3 over x, y. Good. Okay, now we're going to the denominator. What's going to happen there? 3 over y plus?
3 over x.
Good. Okay, what is my LCD on this problem going to be?
xy.
XY is correct. So what do I do with that XY?
Multiply it all terms.
Good. Multiply it or write it next to every single term. When I do that, what happens on the first term? Top left. Y's cancel and you're left with
6x.
6x. What happens on the next term?
xy.
And you're left with
Minus
minus 3. Go to the denominator. Y's cancel, we're left with
3x.
plus, the x's cancel, and we're left with.
3y.
Okay, can I factor anything out of the top? A what?
3.
A 3, and I'm left with
x.
2x minus 1. The denominator, can I take anything out?
3.
A 3, and I'm left with,
xy.
and so then I can
3.
cancel the 3's, and that is our answer. 2x minus 1 over x plus y. Okay, so on this trig example, I shouldn't have put these numbers here, okay? So what they said is the tangent of A equals 4 over 5, and they want to find cosine of A. So again, I'm going to write out SOHCAHTOA. So if I have the tangent of A, that tangent is what?
Opposite over adjacent.
Opposite over adjacent. And so that means if they said it's 4 over 5, from A, opposite is 4 and adjacent is 5. So this triangle should not have been here. We should have drawn a triangle. Okay? And then you can choose any of them to be A, whatever you want. So we just chose A to be right here. So opposite from A is 4, and adjacent to A is 5. Okay? Now they want us to find cosine of A. Well, what is cosine?
Adjacent over hypotenuse.
Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, adjacent to A is what? 5. But I don't know the hypotenuse. How could I do that? How could I find it? Exactly. You guys are very smart. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 4 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. 4 squared is plus equals C squared. 16 plus 25 is 41 equals C squared. And then I take the square root. And so we end up getting C equals the square root of 41. Say that again? No? All right. So that means my hypotenuse down here is square root of 41. Is that good? Very good. You can't have a root in the denominator, so how am I going to get rid of that root? So we multiply by root 41 to the top and the bottom. 2 root 41s makes a 41, and then we have 5 root 41 on top. And so that is the cosine of A. Questions?